we have similar backgrounds, even though we grew up in different regions.
Right.
Because my father, good looking man, he's always been the funniest dude I knew. Always. I'm like, because like I grew up, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a comedian.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to be, I don't want to be like this part, but he has some things that I gravitated towards. And you bring up when you, like in 220, when we were in the same unit, you had Sergeant Majors. It was just me.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, and I was at a point in my career to where I had, NCOs under me, and I couldn't just snatch somebody up and say, do what I do, because I'm like, okay, that didn't work with me.
Yeah.
I know that ain't gonna work with them. So if I'm leading men, I gotta treat them like men, but they have to know that I care enough to say, hey, I'm giving you this responsibility, expecting you to succeed, not setting you up for failure.
Right.
And I think sometimes people look at things that's placed on them like, oh, they set me up for failure. No, we want you to succeed, but you have to take the responsibility to sit down and make it work. And I didn't always pass the test when it came to that, just like nobody does, but you learn as you go. And sometimes you fail, sometimes you succeed, but you should learn from all your mistakes.
Absolutely. And I want to be transparent. I don't want to say that Tony Majors was the only guy over there, because I have the Robert Johnsons of the world as well. And Robert, cool as a fan, laid down, but Robert, and Sergeant Johnson.
Yeah, I can call him Robert now.
Yeah.
I'm about to hit him up, call him Robert.
Yeah. Rob. But let me tell you, Rob was one of those guys. Like I think he was kind of like one of those real quiet mentors. He let you be who you are in space, and then he will pull you aside and ask you particular questions that will make you think. So Robert was a deep thinker. You didn't really get that up front because he was cool as a fan. We used to joke around.
If you just looked at him, you think, oh, this dude's gonna whoop my tail.
Yeah, big. Listen, man. Listen, Rob probably about 6'2", about a good 240, and about 210 of it is muscle. You know what I'm saying? The dude is like built, and he just has some experiences, and he and his wife, they're phenomenal people. And we got a chance to hang out with them from time to time as well, but I learned a lot from him. So I just don't want to just, reduce anybody that I came through, because they all added certain value. And I think that's the key of men. Like, your blueprint of the man that you're supposed to be is based upon the combined lessons that you learn from every man of significance that you encounter. You're going to have some people that you're going to, see and speak to, or whatever the case may be, and you may not spend a decent amount of time with them. So you may not learn anything valuable from them. However, the men that you do get the opportunity and privilege to spend time with, and they take the time to speak into you, listen closely, because the things that they're sharing with you, something in there is for you, and it is for you to carry forward with you into your future. And that's one of the things I can say about those guys, man. It's like, man, I can name a number of them, to be honest with you, but Tony was the one that really, he really pinned me in the corner with his words. Like, his words hit so close to home, I don't even think he realized it back then. And when we did our podcast earlier this year, man, he and I got on the phone and talked a little bit. I shared a little bit of tears. I'm being transparent. Like, I'm being honest. And this is another thing. Men should not be afraid to share their emotions. Like, men cry. Let's be real. Men cry. There's a purging mechanism in the tears that you share. Do not be afraid to cry. Do not be afraid to share your emotions. I think that's important for everybody to understand as well.
Definitely, and there shouldn't be a problem with crying. I think the stigma was always, oh, you a punk and you are this, and you soft. It's not that you're soft, but you have a soft side also.
Right.
And as men, like, I got a bunch of daughters. I can't just come snatching them up and stuff, so I had to play a little with the T-sets and all that other stuff. And, early on, I ain't had no sons.
Did you have to wear the hats too, man?
Nah, man, I ain't wearing the hats and I ain't wearing the skirts.
Very well.
Yeah, but I when I would have to go to the football game, I ain't got no football players.
Yeah.
but I got cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And I had to support.
Yeah.
And men have to have that side in them too, because and all men have it. That's why when you have a little baby and you playing with that little baby, you doing your little goo goo gaga,
Right.
because you know this is precious to me and I don't want to hurt it. I don't want to scare it.
Yeah.
I want it to love me for me.
Yeah. I think that's it's interesting you bring that to the table. And I like the fact that you said that all men cry, because we were raised, well, some of us were, whenever we start crying, get up, stop crying, brush that dirt off you, and, carry on. And, unfortunately, those things teach us to not cry. And, that kind of carries over into our adulthood. But let me kind of change gears a little bit on you, sir, if you don't mind. What would be, if you don't mind sharing with us, your most challenging man moment? What was the most challenging man moment in your life?
Challenging man moment. Ooh. Let's see, my most challenging man moment, because I've been a hard head my whole life. So that's
Me too.
easy. My most challenging man moment was accepting responsibility for actions that I had done. And actually having to go back to apologize to the people, because I always felt like, well, I ain't doing it now.
Yeah.
So, get over it. And I think when you find people that you love and care about, you start to realize, man, I got to care how they actually feel about this situation and about these things. Because when you do things that hurt people, your apology can't be, well, I apologize if you felt some type of way, or if I did something. No, you did something, dude. So you need to apologize. You need to accept, you need to step back. And I think when my oldest daughter got pregnant early, and I'm still trying to figure out how to be a father.
Yeah.
I'm barely over 30, and my daughter's pregnant because I had her early.
Yeah.
So when we were in White Sands, New Mexico, I got a phone call. This was after she had the baby. I got a phone call from one of her friends telling me that, asked me had I talked to my daughter. I'm like, why are you calling my phone? Ask me if I talked to my daughter.
Right.
And then she went on to tell me that something wrong with the baby. I'm like, what? So I call home, and my daughter's going through that whole situation. And my granddaughter had passed from SIDS, so they shipped me back from White Sands to up here.
Yeah.
And I had to come back, and through that situation, it kind of numbed me for a while. But after a lot of tears and everything, I had to come back and apologize to my children.
Yeah.
Because I didn't always set the right role model for them coming up.
Yeah.
And I had to go to each one, not together, a group thing. I had to not make a blanket statement, but I had to apologize to each one of my children about the role model that I had set, that when you don't think they looking, they look.
Yep.
Like, well, I ain't do this around them. I ain't bringing this around them. But they know when you slipping and sliding, dipping and dodging, they can see these things. And so when they tend to think, okay, well, daddy do it.
Right.
It must be okay.
Yeah.
And then they pick dudes that's bums like you were. I can say I was a bum. I can say no. But when they start to do these things, it's like when that maturity light clicked in my head, I said, man, I gotta apologize to my babies.
Yeah.
Because I didn't teach them right. Like, I'm talking now. That's why I always tell them I'm a better grandfather than I was a father, because I'm mature now.
Yeah. So just so that you know, I stole that phrase, by the way. I'm a better grandfather than I'm a father, because I think that's an accurate statement, though. Throughout the course of time, you learn things about yourself, and you realize that the things that you learn, you weren't pleasing with the things that you learned. So you put forth the energy and the efforts to change those things. And the unfortunate, it's unfortunate, but it's also fortunate that the grandchild is the recipient of the best version of you as a parent.
Yeah.
But I get to send them home at the end of the day. You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying?
And see, but I had kids at. I was having my first child. I was having my first child at 14.
Hmm.
So I'm not just because you got hair don't mean you're grown.
Right, right.
So I'm gonna have my. But then she had a miscarriage. I ain't learned the lesson. Boom. I had my oldest daughter at 16.
Yeah.
Before I could turn 17, I had my second oldest daughter. I mean,
Right.
second, yeah. Her, same mother. So it was like, man. But through situations, things that happened in Detroit, I said, man, I got to get up out of here.
Yeah.
And then I ended up coming back. And like you said about your first wife, I married her and we didn't make it because we were both young and neither one of us knew how to be married. I didn't know how to be a man. I was still trying to find out who I was. I was in the military. I was grown. I was getting a check.
Yeah.
So I thought. And it was just hard, being away from everybody that you know. And then when you start coming up in the ranks, you get responsibility for other people. It's like, and then in my head, I'm saying, man, I'm failing over here, but you giving me more responsibility here. And I found myself being more comfortable being grown in the military and not at home.
Right. Absolutely, man. You know what? I'm. So if I'm completely honest, you kind of took my my man moment. So I got to find another one, right? Because let's be honest. I'm gonna tell it first, and then I'm going to find the other one. So one of the most, my most difficult man moments, which is probably the most humbling as well, when I decided that I was going to call my ex-wife and apologize to her. Because let's just be honest, I don't care who you are. If you've gone through a divorce, you weren't perfect. I don't care what the stories look like. I don't care who's demonized you in that story. Regardless of what it looks like, you weren't perfect. Everybody shared in some version of the transgression that led to the demise of that relationship. And until we accept that, then we're going to always point the finger and play the blame game. So I came to a revelation one night sitting in my house and I said, let me just call and just kind of offer it up. If she accepts it, great. If she don't accept it, great. That's her choice. But at least I need to do this, not just for her, but for me, right? But I think one of the most difficult man moments I had is when I took my oldest daughter to MEPS. Man, I cried like a baby. I'm not gonna lie. And you know what? I couldn't figure it out. Here it is. Oh my God. This was I want to say 2000. Man, I'm gonna mess this time frame up. I know it. I'm thinking it's right around 2010-ish. Yeah, no, gotta be before that. Yeah, right around 2010-ish, right around that time frame. I can't. It may not be specifically that. It might be 2009, whatever. But I took her to MEPS, and now mind you, I was the one that recommended she join the Air Force because first of all, I knew she didn't want to join the Army. She wouldn't have wanted to join the Army because I seen what her room looked like every day. Right. So, man, you're not Army material. Let's just be call a spade a spade. Let's be real right here. And so when I came home from work one day early, she was broken down, and I asked what was wrong, and she showed me this letter, and the college said, nope, go to junior college. And she was hurt, and so I asked, okay, so what do you want to do? And so through conversation, she said she want to go to school. I said, well, the military will actually pay for you to go to school. So she was like, interesting. And so then I started talking to her about being an officer and all kind of other stuff like that. Fast forward, at the end of that conversation, she was ready to join the Air Force right then on the spot. So we called, set up the appointment, went and sat with the recruiter. She went to MEPS. First time, chose, because in the Air Force you get 10 selections of jobs, right? Not like the Army, you only get 3. So she got 10 selections and she chose it. And, what kind of helped her with that? I made sure that she didn't put MP on there, all kind of stuff like that. But then after she came back, there's a grace period. You got to wait till one of the 10 jobs come open, and then they call you and say, hey, this job open. Do you want this job? And so the answer is either yes or no. If no, you go back, then you just wait again. So I want to say it took about 8 months after going to MEPS the first time before she actually got the job that she wanted. And so I had to take her back to the recruiting station so she can get on the shuttle and go back to MEPS in Dallas. Man, let me tell you something. That was the hardest drive in my life. Driving from the part of Copper's Cove I lived in to that MEPS station over there It's I can't remember. I think it's over there by Raising Cane's now. So the MEP, not MEP station, the recruiting station over there by Raising Cane.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the longest drive of my life, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I think I made it long intentionally. I think I drove like 15 miles per hour all the way there. But here's the funny part about it. I'm driving down the street and I'm not looking straight at all. I'm looking out my window because I don't want nobody in the cab to see me crying. And so at a certain point in time, I just did this right here. And once I did this right here, everybody knew. But I think the idea of fatherhood, manhood, being, a husband, whatever that looks like, to you comes full circle when you realize that everything that you have done was never about you. That's when it comes full circle. Raising children is, and here's the thing, I didn't get that early. I didn't get that early on in the process because nobody ever talked to me about it. Sure, I've seen parents sacrifice for their kids, but I thought that's responsibility. That's what you're supposed to do. But it didn't come full circle until one day I realized that every bit of teaching and coaching and nurturing and conversations that you put into them shape them to be healthy, functional contributors to society. That was the moment that it hit me. And at that point in time, I think I was at a place where it was like exponential growth happening within me. In fact, I was growing so fast that I was going through some anxiety, internal anxiety. And so, yeah, man, just taking her there was difficult. And then what made it come full circle is when she wrote me a letter from basic training and said, I get it now. She said, I get why you were so hard. I got why you wanted all of these things, for me, because I see where it's helping me here. And just to give you a little background, she messed her ankle up while in basic training, but she refused to quit. And so she took the PT test. She passed the PT test on a hurt ankle. And I was like, man, I said, I don't think you understand. Like, that may have a long-term effect, but I'm so proud of you that you didn't quit. But again, the letter shows up, I'm crying like a baby again. You know what I'm saying? So all of that, listen, man, I tell people in a heartbeat, listen, don't have the right conversation with me because I shed a tear in the heartbeat and don't think nothing about it.
Like you on Oprah.
Hey, man, I'm good with it. So look here, brother, we got you at this point here, man, and we've talked about some very touching moments in our lives. And again, the idea is that we want you guys to understand that we just want the best for you. Nobody is paying us to do this. Nobody's asked us to do this. Two responsible men got together and talked, said, what can we do to help? And then we came up with this. So with that being said, man, if you don't mind, just kind of give us the final thoughts as we start to launch into what the hearts of men really look like.
I'm just looking forward to the topics that'll come up and whomever might bring a topic up so that we can talk about the things that they want to talk about, because we've all been there. We played on teams. I played on teams seemed like my whole life, whether it was sports teams or organizations that you get into where you feel that brotherhood. I think you shouldn't have to pay a monthly fee to be a part of a brotherhood. You should have communication with brothers that have like minds. And also, my old pastor used to say, you need three kinds of friends. You need one friend who's your age, that y'all doing the same dumb stuff. Y'all ain't teaching nobody, y'all not teaching each other anything. Y'all just hanging. You need a friend that's younger than you, one that you can pull up, that you can teach, that you can show what not to do because you've been where he is. And you need an older friend, one who can teach you, tell you, sit down, shut up, and listen.
Yeah.
And that's where we both got this grade for a reason, because we've been on this planet for a minute. But we have experiences that can help some people. And I want our experiences, good, bad, or indifferent, to be a help to somebody. And I just see this as, hopefully it helps somebody. If it helps one person, I'm cool.
Absolutely. So my grades from stress. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, stress.
No, I'm joking, man. I'm joking.
I know.
But joking, but not joking. Yeah. Like you, man. I'm with you 100%. this is what I want to say. For men, again, share this information with other men. Share these podcasts with other men as well, especially young men, right? Fathers, we're not trying to replace you. I promise. We're trying to help. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe we say something different. Maybe Roland, he has the dialect that your son can actually, resonate with. But like he said, and I'm inviting everybody who hears this, send us a message, right? Leave comments under the video. Tell us what you want to talk about. And our promise to you is that we will talk about that thing. That's what we really want. We want to give you what you need. What are you struggling with at this particular point in time? Even if it's about females, right? Let's talk about that.
You gotta have an uncomfortable conversation.
Gotta have the uncomfortable conversation. Because I would tell you, I didn't get that opportunity. I didn't get a chance to talk about females growing up. That was like taboo. So if you want to talk about females, we can talk about it. We can get on here and tell you what our first date looked like. It might be an ugly conversation, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. We'll talk about it. I think that's the key, though. Don't be afraid of, having difficult, ugly conversation. Don't be afraid of being embarrassed for the sake of the sake of the development of somebody else. Man, that was difficult to get out just now. I think that's important. And so for mamas, single mothers out there, we love you. We appreciate you. Invite your son to listen, right? Maybe we can say some things that, he may not necessarily receive it from you because he may feel like you don't have the experience. We know that what you're sharing with them is valuable. You know what I'm saying? Let us do some of the heavy lifting for you. And then, you can sit back and say, I try to tell you. You know what I'm saying? And trust me, it helps sometimes. Like I told you, for me, I had the Uncle Brigade. And I was fortunate for each and every one of them because each one of them gave me something different. I never said neither one of them were perfect at all. And that's the beauty of it. We're not claiming perfection either. We're just claiming that we have a heart to help men. And that's how we got to where we are, the hearts of men. So with that being said, again, we look forward to talking with you every week. We're going to be doing this live. So we're going to get some live feed going in here. I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited about that. Get the young men on that. Let the young men type. We want to hear what they got to say. I want to hear from them. Ask questions. And again, we will try to answer the questions as they come or respond to the questions as they come. And if we don't get it on that episode, we'll try to pick it up on the next episode to come. So with that being said, I don't want to speak for my brother Roland, but man, I just appreciate you just being willing to do this and allowing us to partner together for the sake of these young men. Because like I said, if I had this growing up, man, I would have been golden. I would have been good.
And you see platforms where you see a lot of women always uplifting women. And it shouldn't be an abnormal thing when you see men do it.
Yeah.
Because we need it. If the women that raised us to be toxic masculinity and all that other stuff, if they're saying we're toxic, it's for a reason. It's because we running in that circle. So allow us these platforms and just take the time to, hey, women can sit in and listen. Yeah. Women, and not just listen. If you got something to say, they can have something to say because you might be raising sons and you may have questions. You may have something to where you need some input into your son's life, your husband, boyfriend, whatever life, because I'm always ever teaching my daughters.
Yeah.
Because I have to.
Yeah. Because
if I don't, they may fall for anything. So, and I try to, I'm just trying to be a help. And if we can go that route and this route, because I'm appreciative of Dwayne even taking the time, making sure that, the platform is up and everything is necessary, and just making sure that he keeps it to where it's structured enough to where you can be yourself, but also to where, it's just not thrown together.
Right. Yeah. But I appreciate you saying that, man. I just want to give a quality product, something of value. That being said, man, I appreciate you. And again, we look forward to this conversation that we're going to continue to have. And again, just stay tuned, join, connect with us. Listen to the things that we say. Listen to how we move. We're not saying that we have all the answers, but the answers that we do, we give them to you freely. So with that being said, Brother Roland, I appreciate you. Look forward to talking with you again next week, and we'll come up with a topic for that particular discussion, and we're going to put it out there for the masses to embrace and enjoy. So with that being said, on behalf of myself and Roland Walker, and on behalf of the soon-to-be Hearts of Men community, we thank you for tuning in, and we thank you for being a part of this great conversation.